Megyn Kelly has on Karoline Leavitt, the spokesperson for the Trump organization, in front of her the painting of a wheat combine that Georgia O'Keeffe painted. Sorry. Excellent furniture on this. At least she has the decency to have a teensy little coffee table in between her and the cat lady. She's wearing cat skin. She's wearing a cat burglar on their little Sirius XM set that she insisted on, with her screen in the background. It's just, this is part of our podcasting studio to let you know we're down with the. But we don't, this is what, we're real. That's why we use microphones in our faces. We don't wear those stupid lavaliers like they do on real news programs, which is, by the way, let me tell you something. These kind of microphones are now performative. I use one because it's just me in here, right? And it's just way easier than clipping on a lavalier. But as soon as you get a lavalier that keeps like charged up the way I want, I'd pop that sucker on in a heartbeat. I don't have to worry about the battery dying. But if you've got a team that's doing this kind of show, you can also do lavaliers, and you don't need a mic at all, and you can just sit and talk. But they use these microphones to make you think, well, we're just like Rogan. We're so real. We're like real and stuff. It's just pitiful. All right, so this is how Trump is delivering on his campaign promises and dealing with global crises with Karoline Leavitt. Let's see.
News, and this is a turn, but
oh, sorry.
The Bebas stories in the news today, those two babies.
Terrible.
It's affecting.
Oh, by the way, so if you don't know, she just started this. I have not watched this. I don't pre-watch these things. But the Bebas stories she's talking about are the family that was taken, the father was released, the wife and the two babies were dead. Apparently, not only were the kids strangled at some point after they were brought to Gaza, they had their bodies dashed against a wall or something in front of the mother, it would seem. And then she was killed. They've had their bodies since. It's fucking awful. Just awful. And then when they returned the babies and the mother, the mother wasn't in the actual coffin. It was just a Palestinian woman. They just took another body. And the argument is that I think they sent her the next day. They found her body, but they just threw a dead body they had in there. Arguably because of what was done to her. It's really awful. It's a fucking terrible story. Yeah, it's just those three coffins. They've made them adult size, but there was a 4-year-old and a 9-month-old in two of them. 4 years old, 9 years, and full body coffin. You know why? Because they didn't want to carry a child's coffin because it didn't look good in their little parade. Fucking yikes. Anyways, whatever this idiot was saying.
Affecting me.
Yes.
It just as a mother.
I agree.
And you have a baby
I know.
that's 7 months.
I get chills thinking about it, and I was saying yesterday, I spoke to the president about it yesterday morning, and he had seen the footage of the coffins. And I asked him, how should we even describe this? And talking to our team after, I was...
Really? The dude has a 9-word vocabulary.
Drafting up a tweet, and I was like, there are no words to put out a statement to describe this horrific scene. I cannot imagine the pain of that father and husband who just lost his entire family. And to say we mourn with him is an understatement.
Yeah.
It's so sad. The images of that mother holding her babies.
She looks so scared.
So scared.
Yeah, it's from the video of when she was taken.
There's no words, and I think I'm pretty good with my words, and there are no words to just describe how sad and heartbreaking it is. But I think it underscores why we need to end this conflict, why we need to...
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this woman and her 2 children and their husband were taken on October 7th. The husband was returned alive. The mother and the 2 kids were dead within a month, it seems. And the kids were strangled and beaten to death. And then the mother was beaten and stabbed. So just fucking awful. Just there, and there are words for it. It's evil. It's a war crime. It's inexcusable. It's disgusting. And the people that did it will never be able to pay enough for the people who didn't participate in it. But they don't. I don't think they have the capacity in the White House to even grasp the greater issue at hand.
Eradicate Hamas, and the president sees these images and he's moved by them. And that's why he told Hamas very directly in the Oval Office, you will release all of these hostages or there will be all hell to pay.
No, he said all hell would break out when the phrases break loose. And he didn't say there would be hell to pay. And also they didn't, and they haven't.
Dictated that statement months ago, and look at what has happened. There was an extension to the ceasefire. More hostages have come home. We released Mark Fogel from Russia. Like, the whole world should...
Yeah, that's not related.
Take President Trump very seriously. He wants innocent people to be let out of captivity and free from captivity.
And people who aren't innocent, namely the Jan 6ers.
And he is a peacemaker. He believes in peace to his core, and he's...
Yeah, he totally believes in peace to his core, which is why he said we own Gaza and we're going to move all the Palestinians, all 2 million of them, to other locations forcibly and using, I guess, whatever military means are necessary to do that. And then we'll rebuild the whole thing and it's going to be just beautiful. And everyone in the world, the people of the world will come to Gaza and live there. All the people of the world except the Palestinians, who will be the only group not welcome to come to Gaza, apparently.
Going to do whatever it takes to establish it.
Trump is good at stoicism, which we tend to like in our men.
What? Stoicism? He's a whiny bitch. He's not stoic. He's a sociopath, stupid.
Right?
Very much
At
so.
least we on the right.
Yes.
But when he sees something like that, I'm curious about his reaction when that news was brought to him and they were literally celebrating these dead babies in coffins over there. Do you think he feels it on like that gut level that we do?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he doesn't show it and he kind of ignores it and he goes, "Where's my Diet Coke?" But he says it in a way that he's said in a way that I know he feels for those little kids are never going to get to have a Diet Coke. And so he wants to have one of them for them. And he was like, one for me, one for my homies. Get the fuck out of here. So stupid.
Absolutely. He does. I could hear it. I was on the phone, so I couldn't see his expression, but I could hear it, in his voice. And
yeah, you can just tell when he's, I mean, obviously he could have been on the toilet.
Anybody with a heart, with a humanitarian heart, has to feel for these innocent Israelis and these families. It's
got to be
disturbing
now, like this particular family and being released in the way that they are for a reason. And all I can hope and pray is that like God is, he's steering this in the way it's happening so that we're reminded of that these are monsters. I don't see these people as human. I really don't know. Somebody who could strangle a 9-month-old baby, you're not a human being. I don't know what you are, but you can't be negotiated with. You can't be accommodated. You must be annihilated. And that's.
It's funny that that Putin sends the Wagner mercs in to rape their way through Bucha, for example. Not only sexually assaulting and murdering children, but they booby trap the corpses in case anybody checks on them. Somehow, Trump's got to negotiate with them because, you have to. But these guys, they're animals. Interesting.
President Trump's job. And in a way, it's your job. It's why I almost see when we were talking about you going back to work, okay, 4 days after you had a baby, it's hard for a number of reasons, physically and emotionally, but it's almost like a soldier being called up.
Yeah, tell that to Pete Hegseth, because he thinks women can't serve in the military. You do realize how insane you're sounding right now, right? It's not at all. And if you said that to Pete Hegseth or anybody in Trump's military cabinet, they'd all laugh at you. No, it's nothing like that, woman.
Yeah, I suppose I haven't thought of that analogy, but I felt compelled, to go back to work, just knowing the gravity of the work that the president was trying to do at that time. We were campaigning and pitching to people why he should be elected, and obviously it worked. And that's been such a fun part of this experience.
Well, you had help.
Is seeing the president go from campaigning to governing and watching all of his promises come to life. You talk about the monsters of Hamas, the illegal immigrants that we have here that have taken the lives of American citizens. I was at the rally in Georgia when a few days after Laken Riley was killed. And Laken's mother was backstage with the president and met him for the first time. And I witnessed that encounter. And God bless.
And you only passed the same bill that Democrats were trying to pass by using her name to do it. What did you decide in that moment to leverage this poor woman's name to get Republicans on your side to have a cover so they could sign off on a bill that Democrats were already supporting? Good Lord.
Bless that woman.
Yep.
But then to see her at the White House for the bill signing, the first piece of legislation that the president signed into law,
And only, I think.
named after her beautiful daughter, was so special. And she
Especially because the content was basically already in existence a year ago, and they could have signed off on it. As a matter of fact, 90% of it's been sitting on Mike Johnson's desk the entire time he was House Speaker.
He was there teary-eyed saying, President Trump is a man of his word. To see that come to life and to see the president fulfill these promises
Like the
that
mom
are
of Mark Vogel.
Exactly.
The guy the Russians
95-year-old mother. The president met her in Butler. She was supposed to have a call up on stage. It was inserted into his speech. He was going to call her on stage so she could advocate for the release of her son.
The day he got shot.
The day he got shot. So she never made it on stage.
Oh my gosh.
And she told CBS News following the assassination attempt, that the president was so warm to her, and he told her backstage, if I'm elected, I will bring your son home. And he did it within 4 weeks.
So Trump gets Vogel home right away. Trump basically made this hostage deal happen between Hamas and Israel, saving lives, and at least in this case, returning
Biden negotiated it.
The bodies of the dead to their families so they can be properly buried. Trump does what he says he's going to do with Laken Riley's mom. Trump
names the bill after the girl, but the bill was already in existence and could have been signed into law, but Republicans wouldn't vote for it last year. You could argue that if it's been there long enough that you could actually, if they'd have just signed off on it before it was named after her, if Republicans had passed a bill they would have liked passed even back then, she'd still be alive, possibly.
the time with the Gold Star families from the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal when Joe Biden never did, who stood by him then when they tried
No, he called all of them
to attack him for going to Arlington Cemetery and somebody taking his picture in a certain area.
No, there wasn't somebody taking. You're allowed to take single pictures. You can't use them for campaign promotion. You can't use them for documentary purposes without permission. You certainly can't use it to sell a product, which is yourself.
They all stood by him, came out publicly and saying, stop that. He's been good to us. It just, you might say, if
He wouldn't have stood with them. Wait. No. You don't get points for them coming out against you. He wouldn't have stood with them if they weren't sycophants. They weren't coming to the defense of something. Like, he didn't wander up randomly to people there. He was there with supporters. They were there to film a campaign video to make him look like he gives a shit.
you're an objective observer, not suffering from TDS, that this is actually a good man. What do you think people...
I don't know. I don't think a good man would have been friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a quarter decade. I also don't think a good businessman would have to scuttle entire agencies to find 2% of programs he doesn't like and cut the funding for them. He might have just been able to, I don't know, have somebody on staff go through the fucking books.
are missing? Why do the lunatics who suffer from TDS not...
No. TDS is an affliction that makes people like Trump in spite of the fact that they, for example, were victims of sexual harassment and he was a serial sexual assaulter, and they're willing to put that aside because they somehow worship him for reasons unknown, for the illusion of the things that he will give or the illusion of his success as a business. That's Trump derangement syndrome. You'd have to be deranged to think this dude is a good guy. And again, if he's as smart as he says he is, with the memory he says he has, with the intellect he says he has, and the genius genes that he says he has, why the fuck would he need Elon Musk to come in and take a wrecking ball to entire agencies when you could assign some low-level staffers and they'd have done the same fucking thing without firing a bunch of veterans in the process?
Not see it. Why can't they get...
Megyn, here's why. Here's why. You don't talk to anybody who doesn't agree with you, ever. There might have been a time when you did. There might have been a time when you sat across from people who were, in a broader spectrum of conservatism than you were, or a broader spectrum outside the Fox ecosystem, the soft Fox visitor, as it were. Now that's over. Now it's just you seeking out people who will literally, you're talking about like Blue Sky being a fucking echo chamber. That's all these shows are now. Yes, she has TDS. And how could you not if you only invite people on your show that thinks the sun shines out of Trump's ass and they need a tan?
Beyond their hatred of him.
I think they're blind.
I don't know. Why would you be okay with a guy who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a fucking quarter decade? Or a quarter century, rather. Why? Why would you be okay with that? Why would that never bother you? And I honestly, I only have one question for Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, how long would it have took you to realize Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile? How long? How many years would you have been friends with him to where he's like, he actually says in an interview, Megyn Kelly's my best friend. I was the person she called the most. That's what he says about Trump. And the record bears it out. Now, I don't think Trump has any real friends, but that's another thing entirely. But that's what he said. And Trump was very happy to big him up for a very long time. They partied, baby. So the question is, how long would it have taken you? How long?
Blinded, unfortunately, by their hatred. And they don't see the good
Of Jeffrey Epstein?
Because likely the news outlets that they pay attention to don't share the good that we're doing. I have MSBSC. I'm sorry, you think I don't watch the networks that talk up Trump's game all the time? You don't think I see the smoke machine that you guys, will into existence every fucking day? It's almost all I watch. And I'm still not convinced. NC, as we call it, on my TV in my office all day long because I want to see what they're reporting and what they're saying. And I need to laugh every now and then too. And they're never reporting on the good that we're doing on a daily basis at the White House. It's always negative.
Well, here's your chance, kiddo. Go for it. Tell me some of the good. Tell me how it's the biggest deportation that America's ever seen of illegal migrants, and they're all criminals. And don't let the fact that the numbers are almost exactly the same as Biden and Obama at their height bother you. Just make it up. Just go ahead. Tell us how your slapdash bullshit attitude about federal funding has shut down a bunch of, food programs and farm aid and fired a bunch of veterans who work in the government because you can't be bothered to do your due diligence around any of these things. Tell us the good. Maybe we're missing it. Maybe I haven't seen it. And again, this is a platform. I don't even know why you talk about anything else.
100% of the coverage is negative. So when you are being indoctrinated with such bias, of course you're going to believe this person is an evil monster when it couldn't be further from the truth. I know.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could. I got to tell you, the distance between evil monster and friend of Jeffrey Epstein, who would wish Ghislaine Maxwell well while she's in jail, is way closer to evil than furthest from. Okay? The truth about him is not the furthest thing from evil by any stretch. Doesn't even exit the fucking stadium.
That just looking at what he's done, but also on a personal level, working for him.
Yeah, I don't care. Of course you like him. You're a sycophant. You don't get to come here and spackle the holes in his soul closed and get mad at us for noticing them.
But again, I think it's a smaller and smaller percentage of people in this country who feel that way. I think the vast majority of Americans see the president as a strong and tough leader who, when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And that's just been proven by his first term record. And then, of course, the first 4 weeks. Look at all that he's done.
They're executive orders. He's attempting to seize as much power as he can in the administrative state. He hasn't actually done these things. He signed one bill into existence. Hasn't done a budget yet. Not going to anytime soon. That's the low-hanging fruit. Can't even manage that. The Lake and Riley Act, again, only passed because Republicans could sign on to it because it had her name on it. But it was the same fucking bill the Democrats were pushing. Why didn't they vote for it before she died? Because they were waiting to slap her name on it? And that's the only thing he signed that's a bill, that's actually a law. He can't even pass the budget on his border funding.
Observation over here is that some of that little dip in the polls is due to.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Dip in the polls? There's been no dip in the polls. It's gone nothing but the numbers have skyrocketed upward. Now, am I glad Megyn brought up the fact that he's had a dip in the polls? Sure. Is she trying to give it a soft landing? Absolutely. Is it hilarious? Of course.
These guys. Mm-hmm. It is wall-to-wall negative coverage.
Or it could be the impacts of the stuff that he's doing. And again, if everything he was doing was working, no amount of negative coverage would be able to sink it. You just go, well, he's actually doing it, man. I saw this busload of fucking face tattooed criminals being driven out of the country, right? And he didn't accidentally sweep up U.S. citizens or anything like that, which he did.
Look at this one CNN poll, all right, today, which shows a dip to some extent in the approval. They get to, listen to this, the Trump policies, trying to deport 11 million undocumented migrants. Okay, whatever.
Illegal aliens.
Right.
Right, yeah. And again, I would like to point out the fact that he's trying to deport 11 million, which is the number, close to the number of all of them. That's how many are in here. Not 15 million, not 20 million, not this bullshit number he was selling. 11 million is the number. It's about 10.4 million people. And again, they call them undocumented. And I don't know why that would, I don't know, maybe that would make people more angry if they thought they were illegal, whatever.
So fine, the public's still with him. 51% of U.S. adults support. And then we get down to USAID. Mm-hmm. Shutting down the agency that provides humanitarian aid in low-income countries. Oh, amazingly, 59% of the American public opposes that. I would have gathered that you would have styled that a little differently.
Interesting framing of a program that has sent hundreds of millions of dollars to overseas programs that do absolutely nothing for humanitarian purposes.
With a trans opera in Colombia, it's a no.
Why are we...
Again, listen, dummy, $40 billion budget for that agency alone. Don't even fucking wake me up for less than half of that. And again, handing it out to an NGO that deals with like LGBT safety and security, and they do it through art because that's how you convince the masses to be on board with a lot of things, that it helps. It works. Oh, thanks, Colleen.
Why are we funding vasectomies in Mozambique? Why are we funding DEI in Serbia?
Also, why aren't we funding? I would think Stephen Miller would be for sterilizing people. That sounds like a Republican program.
And sex changes in Guatemala. That does nothing for working class people in this country.
Also, again, this is where a situation where USAID gives $3 million to a company that gets $6 million worth of funding. The other half comes from elsewhere. But anything that was done we don't like was paid for with U.S. tax dollars. Anything we do like wasn't or doesn't exist.
And that is just one agency of many, one program of many that Doge and the administration are looking into. It is fascinating, but also infuriating.
Yeah, it's not waste, fraud, or abuse. You just disagree with the programs. It's listed. You found it. I mean, the more detail you find about it, the more you're like proving your point. Our point. You're proving that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That it is visible. That you can have access. That the stuff is listed, and that the Congress, the oversight committees in the Congress and in the Senate are allowed to look at these things. They can see them. And they either sign off on them or they let it pass because the USAID is allowed some level of wiggle room without having to be micro-fucking managed.
What they are discovering on a daily basis.
Are you getting...
No, it isn't. No. It's a heist. They're full of shit. They're not discovering this on a daily basis at all. Their overall number hasn't gone up. Here, I'll show you. Hold on. Let's see. Doge website. See, Department of it's the spending tracker. Oh, I want the Department of Government Efficiency. Where is it? Load up. There you go. Number hasn't moved at all. Let's balance budget. Doge's total estimated savings are $55 billion. Hasn't changed in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. As soon as they got rid of USAID, they thought, oh, USAID just evaporated. Therefore, all of its budget plus whatever we find, if we get rid of these other programs, we're going to save this money. A, no, you're not. And B, if they're finding new stuff all the time, why is that number not budged? Also, it's a fraudulent number. I've been through this. We've gone through this shit a bunch of times. Have they even updated this shit? Let's see. Uploaded on... description. Okay, so you can't even click through these fucking things. You can't even reorganize them. This is the savings number, which is also bullshit. What a terrible website. Like, this is literally shit. Where's the scroll point on the bottom? Like, where's the scroll bar? Bunch of stuff on here is counted multiple times. This is their spending tracker for their like outlays. How much is being spent, I suppose. Total spending trend. Again, this hasn't moved at all either. Neither of these have updated. The numbers aren't related. The 79.46.842 billion has been the same. This 55 billion's been the same. They're not finding new stuff every day. It's a fabrication. It's a lie. It's garbage. It's a heist. Doge is a heist.
A closer up view, yes, but like, are you getting more insight
Yes.
on how they do it now that you're in this role?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us how Doge works.
Absolutely. And it's much more simple than the media is spinning it to be. They're making it seem like it's this chaotic operation. It's actually not. It's very simple. Doge has individuals who are, again, genius level tech nerds, if you will.
Yeah, like what's his name? That the really smart guy works with him. His name is his real name is what's his name? Who do they answer to? Who do they talk to? I mean, I'm just talking for like transparency and taxation with representation, who, we're just going to describe them loosely?
For lack of a better term, who are on.
How about geeks, incel, childless incel assholes?
Onboarding at every agency as political appointees, just like I onboarded as at the White House.
Nope. They're not political appointees. Elon Musk is now, but he is separate from Doge. The Doge guys are not political appointees.
As a political appointee, this is what happens from administration to administration. And
nope. No, they're a lobbying group. You're just letting lobbyists enter. Elon Musk has a lobbying group that he has named Doge, and they are getting access to private facilities. That's what this is. They're not public servants. They are not. They are not appointees. They don't and again, they haven't they brought them. Where's their swearing in ceremony? Fuck, where's Musk's?
instead of like under Biden and Harris, you have a bunch of left-wing bureaucrats who are onboarding. Now we have outsiders who are here to shake up the swamp, onboarding to administer President Trump's agenda. They are.
So but they're still outsiders is the problem. Like they don't get FBI background checks. They're not swearing an oath.
Are working at the direction of the secretaries at these agencies. You saw our new Secretary of Ag, Brooke Rollins, put out a photo, a selfie yesterday with some of the Doge engineers that are now Ag employees, and they're helping her dig in.
Yeah, those are Ag employees. And again, those guys will have to swear in. Hold on one second. Let's see here. Hold on, I'll show you. Ag Sec. Doge, yeah, something like that. It's the USDA, because it's Doge. Good. Doge works to stop wasteful spending. Ag Secretary Allen says vital farm programs aren't at risk. This is her conversation during an exclusive interview with Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins at Top Producer Summit. Farm Journal asked if the Department of Government Efficiency will target farm programs. No, of course not.
Welcome back to Agri Talk. I'm your host, Chip Flory. Glad that you are with us.
Why are you talking at her and not us?
We are live at Top Producers.
Oh, I see. His camera's over here, and he doesn't realize that we're on this angle.
Summit in Kansas City, and USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins opened the event for us here in Kansas City. Welcome to Top Producer Summit.
Oh, Chip, it's such a joy to be here. You know, I was just confirmed a couple of days ago, but I really wanted to get out into the country, and I really wanted the opportunity for a lot of these producers and
I wanted to fly around on the taxpayers' dime.
our ag community to get to know me.
Yeah.
So when I heard about this one, I may have invited myself, actually. So that could have happened, but I'm so happy to be here.
We're glad that you are here. There's no question. Your opening comments, along with Senator Marshall, talking about going out and barnstorming the world, created a little bit of a buzz in the room, I will admit. Is that what the tariffs are intended for, is to open the doors for some of those conversations?
Well,
Is that what the tariffs are for, to open the doors on those conversations? Because they certainly aren't there to help farmers make money.
I think that the trade negotiations, the tariffs, which we all know President Trump, he has long talked about them. He believes they're a really important tool in his toolkit.
Yeah.
Notice she doesn't want to make eye contact when she's discussing this with him, except to say Trump. But every other aspect of it, she's too embarrassed to look him in the face, or certainly not directly at the camera.
And I think they go hand in hand. You know, the president is really focused on getting America back to work, back to producing.
Back to the carpet, back to carpet, night lighting, back to Hilton, carpet. She's still looking at me, back to carpet.
Putting America first again. And we saw the numbers slide in the last administration. Part of that is tariffs. But my perspective is, while...
Sorry, saw the numbers slide. Part of that is tariffs? You mean other countries' tariffs on ours, or his numbers have slid since the last. Fuck me.
We're having that conversation. Let's get out around the world and let's go cut these deals. Let's use the leverage we have right now. I mean, I think we're all seeing President Trump won not just the Electoral College,
Right.
he won a mandate from the American people.
No, he didn't. 78-75 ain't a mandate, lady. He's barely got a dominant number in the House. He might even lose it before the spring is over. And the Senate isn't on board with all the shit he wants to do. So fuck this mandate nonsense.
And so the world is paying attention. It is a different day today than it was in week 3, 8 years ago.
Yeah, but that's because he's already, I guess, blown up stuff that will protect human life. And it took him like 6 or 8 weeks to do it in the last one. If we're looking at, what he's been able to accomplish and the world being impressed by it, all of it's been through executive order, which is what an administration always has the power to do. Get rid of the executive orders of the last term, from the last presidency, and put your own in. Half of them are, signing ones that would end something, and the other one is signing one that's your priority. So a lot of times it's very easy to double the executive orders of the last presidency because you're writing one that eliminates theirs and you're writing one that it adds on whatever you're going to do. So you're going to do 2 for every one. And in many ways, these are regulations. He is deciding where funding can go, where funding will be prioritized. And that in and of itself is a regulation of federal funds, a regulation of administrative funds. And so it's bullshit is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a sales pitch. It's nonsense. It's what every White House does. And everybody's number of executive orders is just going to climb like fucking crazy because the next president's going to wipe out what Trump's done and put their own in. Even if they have one that's similar, they're going to erase his and put their own in just with their own name on it now.
And Trump won. And so how do we take advantage of that for our community? And that's what I'm focused on.
You do realize you didn't say anything, right? You do realize that.
Excellent. I, for one, was encouraged by the fact that your first official meeting after being sworn in, and it was literally within a couple of hours, was on bird flu,
That's
HPAI.
right.
What is the status, and what does it mean moving away from culling the infected flocks? What's the plan?
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about, lady? And again, this is the big one. What is the plan?
Well, we are still working on the plan right now.
That translation, they don't have one. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to be clear with you right now if I could. This lady just answered the question that this guy was asking by basically just saying, fuck you. What? Yes, I see the green blouse. It's too dark for what you guys are asking.
Now, clearly, this is a massive issue for our poultry.
It's huge. It's so huge, and we're so working on maybe coming up with a plan and hoping it goes away. We're hoping the old plan works so that we can forget about it on our way to the new plan. That's a plan. Huh? What? If you really think about it, procrastination is a plan that's the easiest to implement.
Producers, especially our egg layers, our that segment of the community.
Yeah, our chicken people. Just say chicken people. Our egg layers. Yes. Like yourself, sir.
And so ensuring that we have a plan, not just for the short term to bring down.
Yes, that's what he was asking you. What would that plan? What would that plan be? Since you do not have a plan A. Say plan again. Say plan again. Tell us you got a plan again. Yeah, plan, she says, plan.
Down egg prices, which the president's very focused on.
Oh, yeah, he's so focused on the plan. What's the plan?
But for the long term,
what's the long-term plan?
What are the best practices around the world? Why in America have we been hit so hard? Why did the last USDA a couple of years ago, they recognized it as a major issue, but not many steps were taken. So
they had a plan. The number of cases went down. Egg prices weren't this expensive. They were actually doing fucking something. They had, in the colloquial sense, a fucking plan.
So we've got really smart people on this right now, not just from within the USDA,
Not smart enough to have a plan.
but over at the White House who are really focused on
Okay.
it. I've been talking to governors.
What are they focused on? What a series of actions that they could put together in a coordinated effort, often referred to as a plan.
I've been talking to the companies that are facing this. I've been talking to
Egg layers, chicken people, yeah. Trying to find somebody with a plan. Have you been asking them? Maybe they've got a plan.
we've been talking to everyone, trying to come up
Didn't ask me, did you? So I guess not.
with an all,
I know something about eggs. I need one to raise my dough.
talk about the toolkit, a big toolkit
Yep.
to be able to really approach this and hopefully figure out a way to.
Oh, figure a way. What's another word for a way? You mean like a plan?
Again, solve it for the long term.
Will vaccines be part of one of the tools in the toolkit?
Vaccine,
Are vaccines part of the plan? Demic? Huh? Is this part of the pandemic? Are we entering a new plan? Demic? Huh?
vaccines are being discussed right now.
Okay.
Are they?
I think that there is a lot of opinion on that on both sides.
No, pretty much just one opinion. And then there's on one side there's science, and on the other side there's opinion. I would say go with the science, but what do I know? All I've got is a plan.
And we're working through all of that right now.
Okay.
You're working through all of it? Really? Looks like you're sitting. Doesn't look like you're working through it. Looks like you're taking a trip out to talk and give a speech. Doesn't sound like work at all. If you got to come up with a plan, maybe talk about the plan before you actually go give a speech about the fact that you don't have a plan, about the single biggest issue facing egg layers and chicken people.
Okay. Disaster aid, economic aid. It was approved by the last Congress. It's been
In the last administration.
a little, I shouldn't even say that, it's a little slow coming out, but what is the status?
Yeah, I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't even say it to your fucking face, lady. It sounds like there's no plan.
What should we expect?
It's got to move quickly.
Okay.
And now,
I agree. Maybe the president could sign something. Maybe he should plan to release the funds as quickly as possible. Maybe he could develop a plan.
now that I'm there, that is
You're not there. You're in Kansas. You're not there. You're with this guy. You're talking to this guy. You've been there for like a week and a half.
other than avian flu, that's probably when I walk out of here, I'll jump on the phone and we'll start figuring out.
Real quick. You will start figuring out. Yeah, you heard that right. Will start figuring it out. That's what you're going to do? Huh? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to start figuring it out as soon as you're done with this interview in Kansas City at an event you weren't even planning on going to, that you didn't need to go to give a speech about a plan you don't fucking have.
Again, why that isn't moving more quickly? What?
Maybe it's not moving quickly because the person who should be dealing with it is in fucking Kansas City at an event she didn't need to go to, talking to people that already can have her fucking phone number.
We need to do. We've got the team in place, but as you can imagine, you know, I just got confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody cares. You just got it confirmed and then you left town. Maybe stay there and do your fucking job. Maybe that. Maybe first thing you show up when you get into work is maybe develop a plan. Ha
Yeah.
A couple days ago, we
And it didn't take you but a second to go on the road and start glad handing and patting yourself on the back.
have the 8 undersecretaries at USDA, one that manages this portfolio. He hasn't even had his hearing yet. So we're
So there's an acting person in there, and that person who approved stuff before isn't given the permission to give out the stuff because nobody has a fucking plan.
we're a little bit of band-aiding and duct taping. bubblegumming this thing together. But
Hashtag the best people. We're a little bit band-aiding and duct taping and bubblegumming this thing together. Listen, MacGyver, he had a plan.
But please know, and all of your listeners and those watching on TV should know that this is
Nobody's watching this on TV, lady. They filmed it for later. You're not on television. You're in a Ramada.
the highest priority.
Okay.
We have the
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. If it was the highest priority, you wouldn't fucking be there. You'd be in D.C. making it happen while you worked on your plan for bird flu.
best team in place, and we are going to
You don't have the best team in place. You just said so. The guy hasn't even had his hearing yet. You don't have the best team. You've got the patchwork team, or you have the people who were there before, or you kicked people out the door who were doing the job before you could replace them. And so it's your fucking fault. It's either your fault, it's Trump's fault that nobody has a fucking plan.
move as quickly as humanly possible.
No. You're not going to move as quickly as humanly possible. Asshole. The fastest thing you did was get out of town. You left headquarters to come to Kansas to have your ass kissed.
Oh, I'm sure that when you sat down and took a look at what was happening out there with all of the IRA money that was out across the countryside, and you decided to put a freeze on some of that conservation
Did that go well?
money. EQIP is one of the programs that everybody kind of points to.
Excuse me, sir. You're going to need a plan to talk to this lady because she does not know what the fuck you're talking about. Real quick, I gotta bring you this to you. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. This is. Show you this real quick. Hold on. It's relatively new. So the IRS has new guidance for retirement accounts and farmers. The estate plan edge. Only 40% of farmers invest in qualified retirement accounts, or in other words, not farmland. But the IRS has a rule change that may make retirement accounts more favorable for farmers. So instead of putting stuff into an IRA, you can invest it in your farm. This was under the Biden administration. USDA Economic Research Service report only 40% of farmers invest in qualified retirement accounts. What they're saying is you should be able to count that as an investment in your farm. You might have the right to buy. You might be right in that buy land strategy, but you might want to diversify by investing in at least something in retirement accounts. The easiest retirement account is to set up a self-directed individual retirement account or an IRA. There's a pre-tax version and after-tax version. Roth in 2024. The contribution is $7 per person or $8 if you're over 50. Regardless of whether you invest or pre-tax or after-tax, you have almost unlimited freedom to choose the type of investment you want in the account, and you might want your IRA invested in CDs, you might invest in annuities, whatever, but you can also choose, hold on, where is it? No matter what type of investment you choose, you grow a retirement account with your the pre-tax side. Okay, directly in stocks and bonds. After-tax accounts, Okay, this is what they're talking about. This is where you can invest in your farm if you want to.
What's the status of that? Is that going to be unfrozen?
Yeah, well, we are talking about that right now. Any commitments
No.
that were made previously, we will, of course, fulfill those commitments. That's
No, not of course. No. No, not of course. You don't know what he's talking about.
the only way to do it. Everything that is
It's not the only way to do it. You can do it the way you're doing it, which is fucking things up.
forward-leaning, that's what we're really focusing on, reevaluating in the current environment.
Got
That meant nothing to him. It's a new program. It started last year. They just geared up to do it. People invested in their IRAs or their Roth IRAs specifically so that they could invest in their farm past a certain point. Once they pass on their farm to somebody else in their family, or as a way of securing pre-tax money. Because they don't work for a giant corporation. They're basically self-employed, so they would be able to do this it was set up by the Biden administration, and it has to go forward past this year to mean anything.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. You also talked with the group about modernizing USDA. Is that what some of the job cuts are about?
No. No. Yes, it's very hip and modern to fire people.
I think that anytime, and I worked in the last federal government under President Trump, I have a long history in state government, even in a conservative state like Texas. What are your metrics for success?
Sure. And if it's just firing and shrinkage, we're killing it. If you're on the receiving end, it's kind of your ass.
How do you measure whether what you are being called to do and what the taxpayers are funding is actually working? And I don't know that we'll ever have another chance again to really look deeply at these massive government programs.
Why? What do you think oversight committees do? They do it all the time. What you mean is they won't have an opportunity to illegally fire a ton of people when you don't even know what they fucking do.
And it isn't just obviously on the ag side, but as I mentioned earlier today, it's on the food stamp side. And we're spending a lot of money. It's 80% of the USDA budget on that. So how do we look at all of the above? What are the metrics for success? How do we measure whether we're being successful? Why do these programs keep growing?
Yep.
Population, poverty, the federal minimum wage hasn't come up. Red states rely on it. Walmart basically subsidizes all their employments with SNAP, their employees with SNAP.
When in fact the goal is to move people off of the program, especially on the food stamp side.
Unless you're Walmart.
So these are all questions that we're asking right now, and we've got really good people digging in.
Okay.
Yeah, really good people. They haven't been, I don't know who they are, and they haven't been, none of them have actually been sworn in or had their hearings yet, but eventually, good people that are eventually. Let me remind you kids, I've got I went over because we got distracted in this business, and I think it's good that we got to look at this because nobody's going to give a shit largely about, Brooke Rollins at the USDA, out in the generalized news. You're not going to hear a bunch of news about that. But the groundswell against the Trump administration are going to start with the people she's talking to. And that guy was asking all the right questions on a boring little show that only farm people watch, maybe. I mean, just garbage. Just garbage. There was, 95 cancellations, 150 minutes. This is what AgWeb is saying, including 2 USD contracts. There was a $265,000 food nutrition service 3-day leadership retreat in Atlanta that was ended, and $30,000 for a Malaysian study tour facilitation services. That's what they cut out. So $295,000 for events and stuff to get people together or to look at like biodiversity. So Doge cut those 2 things, which would have been cut anyways, because that's the kind of stuff. Our AG report airs at 5 a.m. Yeah, usually, Dr. 13, a lot of those reports are like but in the morning. They're 4 or 5 a.m. up with the roosters, So the current update of USDA, they've cut $115 million, 95 cancellations that included 2 USDA contracts. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. Live update from our Doge USDA team meeting tonight. Increasing DIA program for integrated pest management. You can't make this up. These are posts on here. The Doge USDA is a... Does it have, one post? Fuck is that? Yeah, that's it. This is the Doge X page. One post. That's it. Doge seeking help from the public. Please DM this account with insights on finding and fixing waste, fraud, and abuse related to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Thank you. That's efficient. Go for it. Is this, no, I'm not going to log in. I don't have an account. Fuck you. This is what you're going to see. Da-da-da-da. Oh, she's in here. Oh, there's Bongholio, which is, by the way, end of his show, kids. So sad. He got Kash Patel's old job. All right, I gotta go, and I've still got a honey-do list over at Ethan's house. So take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will be on not on my regular show in the afternoon, but I'm also going to join Cliff Schecter's show, and I'm going to co-stream it on here as well. So whenever I'm on his show, I will also stream it here. So we'll double hit it, and then maybe even throw it around on that old Substack over there. Who knows? Who can say? Just saying. Nikki Love says, hasn't America always been working? The world is telling us to go to hell. Yeah, that's happened before too, and it'll happen again, sadly. But you're absolutely right. The difference is that they mainly mean Trump can go to hell. And they know that attacking America is, and here's what I would say to our foreign friends out there. Please just attack Trump. Don't be a wuss about it. The United States split 78-75 voting him in. We're not all in the camp with him, and he's trying to cow and scare everyone and make it that he is America. He fucking isn't. So all I ask from you guys is that every moment you want to shit on America, shit on Trump and the conservatives, there's certainly some of us that deserve a little bit of a blowback, I would guess. But it would really benefit us all if you recognize the threat and if we're a deeply divided country, we didn't suddenly become undivided. We didn't suddenly become indivisible under Trump just because he, won the election by a 3-pointer, right? Nobody gets credit for a mandate on either side until they actually have one. And that includes Trump. And so I'm not going to buy into his bloviated sense of self just because other people do. He's a loser, and he's going to keep losing. It'll be at our expense, and I apologize to the rest of the world for what the damage the maggots have done. But that's a conversation for another time. In the meantime, just do some good. Just do some good. It's going to take a lot of local good to push back against the big bad that's out there. So you can do it. I believe in you. And until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And remember, more importantly, that if you're ever confronted with a decision you believe is the lesser of two evils, choose less evil. You hear me?